Before we begin this episode, I want to thank the Spoiler Force patrons for their patronage. Thank you to Mong Her, Orion Vang, Lor Su Yang, and Yilang Li. Thank you guys for the support.
This is Mark Witten.
This is Adam MacArthur.
This is Ann Yatko.
Hey everybody, this is Michael Yurchak.
This is Erica Harlicker.
This is Daquan Wilshire.
This is Rico Fajardo, and you're watching.
And you're listening to Spoiler Force Podcast. Set your heart ablaze.
All right, so this is episode 131 of Spoiler First Podcast. My name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. Oh my God, I can't even talk today. So it's been about 2 weeks since the last episode, so that's probably why I fucked up on my intro. But this week's guest, I have an artist from Michigan. I'm excited to bring her on. I love her work, and I can't wait to talk about it more. So let me bring on Michal Overholts. Thank you so much. I was like stuttering on saying your name.
Happens all the time.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get into like how you got into art and all of that, how was C2E2? I know you just got back there from, like this past weekend.
Yeah, I was there in Chicago for C2E2 last weekend and actually yesterday, and it was awesome. It's honestly, it's one of my favorite cons to go to as a guest. They usually just have the best vendors, the best like guests, but like it's my first time actually being an exhibitor there, being one in Artist Alley, and it was phenomenal. I had the best time. I had to talk to a lot of new people, got to meet some new people. I ended up buying quite a bit of art too. Yeah, it was a great weekend for sure.
Yeah, that's one of the cons that's on my bucket list for sure. I've gone to Chicago for like Fan Fest or for Wizard World, but not for C2E2. There was like 1 year where they actually had like writers and like the guy Arlo Stein. I think he was there for 1 year.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so awesome.
Yeah. I think he was there 1 year that I wanted to go, but I could never make it to that specific convention. So when when we were in contact sending the emails, it was just very coincidental that a lot of the previous guests that I've had on my show too, they were going to CC2 as vendors and all of that too. So I just, it was really like a big wow factor to me, like to see you there and like a bunch of other artist friends that were on the podcast before that was all there just selling art and merch. And that's just really cool to see.
Yeah. No, honestly, at every con that I've gone to, I usually end up, first of all, purchasing other art. I've gotten to a point now where I have to be a little picky about what I get, or I have to actually switch out things on my wall because I've just run out of room because every time I go to a con, I ended up buying stuff. But yeah, I got to meet some really, really talented people. I do take a few con commissions. So I did a couple comic book covers, like variant covers. And honestly, I just love con life. I've been going to cons now for 12 years, I think, and just recently started to exhibit. So it's kind of cool to have that experience to not just be there to spend all my money, but also to make a little bit too.
Yeah, that's. I hope to hopefully try to be an exhibitor one day too as well. I've had press passes, but still I'm still going in there and buying stuff. So it's like it's a win-win. I don't have to like exactly pay for the event, but I'm still gonna spend that money on something else.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have you done any art trades? I know that's quite a big thing with artists at conventions.
Yeah, I actually have. When I don't ever broach the subject, I'll kind of feel out the other artists first because I don't want to, I don't want to like rub them the wrong way or something because I know art is valuable. But if they're kind of open to talking about it, then I'm like, hey, can we trade something? But honestly, a lot of the times I'll bring. It's sort of hard for me to separate it from work and basically pleasure or vacation. So I do have to limit myself, like my petty cash. I try and limit how much I bring with me because otherwise I'll just blow through everything that I make. So
right. Everything you make in a day is
right. Right, exactly. And I've actually started, I still purchase prints, but I actually have been starting to, be willing to pay a little bit more for originals, just to have those originals to know that the piece that I have is the original piece. So
do you sell originals at the cons too? I know you do some.
Yeah. So I do. Some of the originals are immediately spoken for, and I don't even have time to list them online. I don't have time to bring them into the con. For the most part, I actually have a large portfolio that sits right in the middle of my table, and people can flip through it, and it's got all my originals in there. And then I usually sell. Yeah, it depends on the con. I usually sell a few of them at least per con. I have had a couple collectors that come and they really want to visit me. Like I was just at Heroes Con in North Carolina, which was a lot of fun. It was super cool because almost every single artist there was like a professional like comic book artist or indie comic artist or an illustrator or something like that. So these really, really big names that I just got to sit next to the entire weekend, which was super, super cool. I think I walked around looking just like an idiot because I was just like, oh my God, this is so awesome, just looking at everything. But yeah, I mean, I have noticed a lot of other artists do that too. They have their originals sitting out. And then if, people aren't interested in the originals, they can look at prints. So
Has there been any, I guess, any complex commissions that you've done during the cons? I know that with like limited time during exhibitor hall, like you have to kind of crunch those out as fast as.
Yeah. So that was the biggest thing when I started doing commissions like at cons. Because normally my pieces take a long time. I'm super. I have pretty severe ADHD, so I'm either bouncing off the walls everywhere or I'm hyper focused on something. So my regular pieces can take anywhere from like 10 to 40 hours. Like I did a very, very large Darth Vader piece that took 53 hours. So some of these things I have lots of time into. So when I started taking commissions, I was a little apprehensive about it. I wanted to make sure that I could still produce something that was, high quality, but shrink down that time into a very, very small time limit. So normally what I do is I kind of talk to the person, figure out what they want. I usually have an extra sketchbook with me. So I'll say, come back in like an hour. I'll have some really rough sketches for you. You can kind of choose a pose or, we can kind of go through blocking and stuff like that. And then for comic book covers, they'll choose a pose. They'll say, I like this one. And then I'll either decide, is it going to take me a day or do they have to come back tomorrow or do they have to come back on Sunday or, however long I think it's going to take. But yeah, definitely crunching everything down into like one day was very, very difficult for me at first. I just finished couple covers ago. I just did a really cool Dead Doctor Strange variant, which was probably one of my favorites. And we ended up doing it just in grayscale, so just in pencil. There was no color added to it except for his red cape, which was really, really cool. And I was super happy with it. But yes, that one was a little time crunched because I had to find a really good reference photo from the Multiverse of Madness. And then I had to be able to transfer that over and do a drawing. So
I would actually prefer that kind of art style because like for me specifically, I really like black and white colors or like art prints with like very limited colors that stand out, like red or like a blue or something bright in the background. So man, I is that on your Instagram? I definitely have to take a look at that later.
Yes, it is up
Okay.
on my Instagram. I was that was the other thing I want to say with all commissions. Some people don't want me to post pictures of them. Either they're for gift or they just want to make sure that it's just theirs and nobody else is going to copy the concept and stuff like that. But I did get permission from him, that client, to post it. And I I think I had it. I posted it on where did I post it? On Facebook, I think. And within about 2 minutes of it being live, I got 2 different messages of people saying, is this for sale? Can I buy this? And I was like, I'm sorry, this is already somebody else's. If you want to, we can do another one, but this one is actually spoken for. So, I mean, it's a good ego boost, but definitely kind of like, sorry, it's already somebody else's.
When you're doing whether it's commissions or original work, how do you try to avoid like doing the same poses for for these characters?
Yeah, so a lot of it has to do with what the clients want. This guy, his name is Sam, and he's since become a pretty regular client, and so I sort of knew sort of what he wanted. We had talked about some of the detail things, like he didn't want it to be super, super gory. He wanted it to be more about the character, but that it was this character in frozen at this point of time. So just going over that helped quite a bit. We're working on another one for a very small comic book series called She. And this one, I have a bunch of sketches that I'm going to be sending him. And when I say sketches, I mean like really rough sketches. Like there is no facial features. It's literally an oval for a head, and then I've got anatomy going on a couple of different poses that I'll send him. And then he literally says, "I like this pose. Let's go for this pose." And then we've talked about the face. He wants to model a face on a pretty famous actress, so I'm going to be using her face for the reference photo, and then just kind of building it up from there. But definitely, if you are going, at least to me, if you are looking for a commission, I usually tell people try and be as specific as possible as you can with me, even if you have reference photos like from a movie that you like, or something like that. That always helps, because then I can be like, oh, okay, we want this stance, we want this kind of, is there air, is there wind blowing the hair back, is, little things like that. So all those kind of details definitely for me help. If you can give me more details, I can create a better thing.
Yeah, that's good to know, because I've seen like a lot of artists who do commissions, again, with time crunching. It's always just either one or two, or maybe even three poses, but it's kind of just repetitive. And so they just
Yes.
keep pushing that out and getting those covers or like small little sketch prints done, and just to get it out,
Yeah.
like not to get it out the way, but like just to be able to get it in done in time during the whole convention weekend.
Yeah, and the hardest part, honestly, with doing convention commissions is still being able to be mentally present at the booth. Because when I talk to people, a lot of people want to know, oh, how did you do this, or how long did this take you? They want to interact with the artist, which I do the same thing. I like to interact with the artist. I like to know the story behind stuff and stuff like that. So it's hard to do that when your head is down the entire time sketching. So I'm always like, yeah, like this is I'll try and sketch, and then I'll try and come back and like sit still for a while and talk to people, and then I'll try and sketch. And so it's just basically like a time juggling sort of thing.
You're not by yourself doing all this, are you?
No, I usually have my husband with me. He is my I call him my booth eye candy. So he usually is helping me. This at C2E2, he was actually God bless him, he stood in line for Rosario Dawson's autograph.
Oh man.
And I felt so bad because I was texting him because I had to pee so bad. I was like, dude, you're killing me. Like, I have to pee so bad. So it usually with Artist Alley, I've gotten so lucky with my neighbors. Like every con that I've done this year, they've been awesome neighbors. So I'll just be like, I'll be right back. If you can just, somebody comes up, tell them I'll be back in like 2 seconds. So yeah, it's really not a big deal. But yeah, I can't believe he stood in line for that long for her. He was like, oh my gosh. Because we didn't expect it to be that long. Normally he goes and gets, if there's like a person that he really wants to see, he'll go get an autograph. But most of the time he's sitting right next to me. He helps lift the heavy totes full of prints and stuff like that. So
yeah, that I think, was it this past weekend that she announced that the Punisher was supposed to be like coming back or something like that?
yeah,
That
she
that
said
same weekend?
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
she said something, and I saw it like secondhand on like Yahoo News or something
Yeah.
like that, but I didn't get a chance to read it. Honestly, after cons, I literally like so a lot of cons are really cool. They have like after hour stuff going on. They'll have like artist happy hour where you get to just kind of chill, drink with artists and watch them sketch. So usually they donate those sketches to like charity or something like that. And for me, after a day of a con, I will sit in complete silence. I will just sit there and just slowly decompress, like it's so funny. Especially this last weekend on Saturday, I was going, which is awesome. But by the end of the day, man, I was just wiped. I all I wanted to do was like crawl and die. Like
I know how exactly that feels. Like I when I get into con mode, even when I'm just being like a regular civilian there, like no press passes, nothing, I'm so focused that I forget to eat at times. And so
yes.
whoever's with me, they're like, Ricky, you need to eat now, because you're like running around looking at everything, networking. I'm like, no, I'm good. And then like eventually they start seeing me like I'm on edge at that point.
Right.
And so I'm like, yeah, okay, I need to go eat.
Yeah, it's almost like a Snickers commercial where you're like,
Yeah.
hey, dude, eat a Snickers. So, yeah, no, I totally get it, because I'll do the same thing. I'll just be going. And then at the end of the day, I'll just be like, I don't even remember the last time I had any water or something like
yeah.
that.
Well, Michal, to bring it back just a little bit here, how did you get started with art? I saw a little bit of your profile on your website, and And actually, before we get into that, I want to tell the listeners how I discovered you, because I was actually still living in Michigan at the time, and I
Okay.
was looking at the artist alley for Motor City Comic Con, and I came across your profile.
Yes.
So that's how I found you, and I was like, whoa, like this one, like your work stood out a lot. I think it was just when you were doing, like, right before you did the Venom print,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
right
I didn't
before
even
that.
know this. I didn't know
Yeah.
how we like connected really. Like,
Yeah, no, I looked through like a lot of Artist Alley and stuff like that, and then like again, from being from Michigan, like there was a, I don't know if you know the shop. It's called Otaku Detroit. They're like in the Metro Detroit area. Um, I was just like trying to network with some artists there, and eventually, like, I couldn't get them on the show, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna look at Motor City Comic Con, because it was during that same month. I just looked through the list, and I was like, okay, and that's when I found you, and I was like, all right, I've been following you been following you for quite a while. Just I never took the time to really just reach out and be like, hey, you want to be on the show? You know?
no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I felt really cool when you got the email. When I got the email, I was like, oh my gosh. So
No, I'm glad that you responded, and sometimes some people don't even like respond at all. Like they'll just like, oh, so what's the show about, and then leave me hanging. And
oh,
yeah,
no.
so
I'm always down to talk about art. And like I said, I love the con life. So I'm always down to talk about that too.
yeah. So how did you get started though? Like what made you decide to just jump into drawing, or even just like getting into this whole business of the art stuff?
Yeah. I started in 2018, and I was literally just like doodling. I just, would take like a Sharpie marker and draw all over like an old bill or a receipt or something like that. And that's when I started posting my stuff. I just really loose, like now I look back on it and I'm like, but so I started posting that in 2018, and I bought my first set of graphite pencils in November of 2019. And the reason I know that it was November 2019, because I got the pencils and immediately tried to do a portrait, my very first portrait. And again, now I look back on it and I'm like, eesh. But ever since I started doing that, I've just been hooked. And it's one of those things where like I said, I get hyper focused on things. So I started doing just portraits. I really love doing portraits. Honestly, I do a lot of fan art, but my first love is definitely just drawing faces. I love drawing faces. So I started just doing like cranking those out. And then I had a couple people ask me to draw some portraits for them as commissions. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. At least it pays for more pencils or a new sketchbook or something like that. And then my kid actually recommended that I start posting my process up on TikTok, of all places. I was, I think I'm probably the oldest person at the TikTok party, because I know everybody that follows me on there is quite a bit younger than me. But I was like, all right, I'll post it. I'd been doing time lapses over my shoulder just because I like watching time lapses. So I had started making them. And then it sounds like right around the time that you found me, I had posted a picture. Well, I had posted an original of my Medusa, which is an original design. And I posted her, and she got a little bit of traction on TikTok. And I was like, no way, like 20,000 people watched this. It was pretty crazy. And then I posted another one in June of last year, and it was Harry Potter. And that was just me drawing because I'm a huge Potterhead. And so I posted that time lapse, and that one got like 50,000. And I was like, what is going on? Like, this must be a fluke. And then finally, in August of last year, I believe it was, I posted a Venom. I had drawn Venom, and man, that one just took off. And honestly, it was, it's like I said, it's just a time lapse of me drawing it from start to finish. And I I had to turn off my phone because it kept dinging, it kept going off, and I was like having anxiety from it. I was like, this is not cool. I have to turn this off. And so that one is almost at 1 million, I think, 1 million
Oh wow.
views. So yeah,
Yeah.
but ever since I started drawing, I have this absolute love for it. Everything that I draw, I enjoy drawing. So even if it's like, I know a lot of people, like I personally have to take time from like between commissions, like I'll do commission and then I'll take time to do something else, and then I'll do a commission and then something else, just to kind of break it up. But even my commissions, I just enjoy the actual act of drawing. So it's still an enjoyable thing for me. And I know how lucky I am to be able to do something that I enjoy. So it's like, yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, it's crazy to just hear like the process of everything, because like with 2018, that's not even that long ago. Not even 5 years ago. So
Yeah.
have you been drawing way before then, or is this something like you just picked up on the spot and like, I'm gonna just start drawing today?
I don't want to sound braggy, but it's more like that. I had never really thought that I could draw. I didn't know I'd enjoy it as much, so I never really tried. And then I was, like I said, I started doodling, and then the doodles got more and more complex, I suppose, to a point where I didn't just set them down and leave them unfinished. I actually had plans for them, and then it just sort of organically grew from there. Like I said, I bought that set of graphite pencils, and it was over after that. I was like, these are amazing. I love these. And so I just started drawing all the time. And then honestly, I don't mean to make light of a really, serious situation, but with COVID, when COVID took over and we were all, stuck in the house and doing everything like that, I was like, well, I guess I'll draw. I can't do anything else. I guess I'll just draw. So I started drawing more during that period of time when we were all under quarantine. And then it's, here we are.
Well, it's a blessing in disguise with quarantine. You got a lot of hours to practice in that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of did with the podcast too. Like during that time of just quarantine, like even with the stimulus check, I went and bought a mic and just like
Yeah.
started trying to improve the podcast. So I get it. It's during that time, it was just crazy to see how many content creators just like broke out because there was nothing to
Yes.
do. So many artists, video creators, content creators, whatever. Like everyone just came out of the woodworks and just like everything. And I think again with TikTok, that helped out a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen so many artists are like doing time lapses on TikTok, and it's really cool to see the process. Everyone has a very different process of how they start from start to finish. So
Yeah.
I enjoy watching. I can like be on my phone all day looking at that stuff.
I mean, see, I'm the same way. My entire TikTok feed, I don't get on there very often because I just sit there for hours and scroll. But my entire feed now is either art or puppies. I have puppies showing up. It's crazy how smart their algorithm is, because like I looked up something for my dog, and then all of a sudden I started getting tons of dog videos, and I was like, this is all right. I'm cool with this. So.
So have you I mean, not to point out your tattoos, but have you ever done any tattoo work before?
I have not. So I get asked that quite a bit.
Ah.
And I'm always super, super flattered, honestly, when people ask me, like, can you tattoo me? Like obviously I'm very, very covered. So I don't actually do any tattooing myself. I'd probably make a mess of it and send somebody to the hospital, to be honest. But I do design every now and then. I usually actually tell people, so if you come to me and you're like, hey, I have this idea for a tattoo, can you draw me something? I can definitely do that. Usually what I tell people to begin with is to actually ask their tattoo artist. And that's not because I don't want to work with them or I don't like their idea or something like that. It's mainly because your tattoo artist can design you something that will fit in the area that you want it to be. So I always use the example, if you have 2 tattoos on your arm, but you want to turn it into a sleeve, a tattoo artist is actually going to be able to fit that. I won't be able to make that design fit. And then also, I'm not sure how well some of my designs will tattoo. Like I actually have my Medusa sitting here. I have some prints to ship out, but like my Medusa right here, I don't know how well that would transfer onto skin. Just because there's so many tiny little details. So I'm usually telling people, talk to your artist, because it's also included in the price. When they give you a quote, they're going to draw you something that will A, be custom, B, will fit in the area. And then sometimes my stuff just doesn't translate well. And that's, I have talked to several different artists that say that they like, there's just certain things you can't do on skin.
I guess when you got your tattoos though, like is that something that kind of inspired you to help draw too? Like just seeing like the artist work on you.
Yes. So I have this really weird thing, and God bless my tattoo artists because they have to put up with me. I have this really weird thing that is, if I can see you tattoo, I will just stare at you tattooing. I feel like it's like I'm almost hypnotized by it. I'll just stare at you. And I had to tell my main tattoo artist, Dylan, who I've been going to see for years now. I think he's used to it now, but I'm like, hey man, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be like over your shoulder. I just love watching it. So like on my neck, when I couldn't watch it, was like torture for me. I was like, oh my gosh, how far are you? Like, what's going on here? But yeah, I mean, I have so much respect for tattoo artists just because of the things that I just said. They can create things that are custom and that fit in the areas that they needed to fit in, and they have to work with different types of skin and all this kind of other stuff, and I just could never ever do it. And honestly, I'm kind of like a shut-in. When I'm not at cons, I'm like at home with my chihuahua and I'm just shuffling back and forth and drawing every now and then. So like being a tattoo artist in a tattoo shop, I feel like would be just very very mentally taxing for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, always having to be like outgoing and then like into the
Yes.
plans and all of that.
Yeah,
I'm similar in that way too. I'm only like really talkative when I'm on the podcast or if like there's a common interest, but most of the time I'm just like I have a stank face, so I'm just,
Yeah. Oh,
don't
so do
bother
I.
me.
I have the worst resting bitch face. So as a very young child, my mother had to tell me, you have to pretend you're a little bit happy because otherwise you look like you're gonna murder somebody. Like my resting bitch face, like I bet you I can do it. Like she's just like, no, Michal, you have got to smile just a little bit because you look like you're just super pissed off. And I'm like, okay, so now I have this like I have to like remember to turn it on where I just sort of either look perplexed, so I have some sort of expression on my face, or I have like a tiny half smile. And I have to put that on at cons because otherwise people look at me like, I don't want to look at her stuff. Yeah, it's pretty famous resting bitch face, honestly.
How was the tattoo on your neck? Like, did that hurt a lot?
So
I would assume it hurts a lot.
my hair is so long. So this part right in the middle was the only part that really sucked. It wasn't even, and it wasn't super bad, honestly. Like I can't even remember how long my neck took. I know I got my Harry Potter snitch done on a different day than the rest of my roses. And honestly, it wasn't bad. My collarbones were probably the most painful ones that you can see right now. The collarbones were terrible just because I felt like the tattoo artist was awesome. It was just the placement, like the placement on my body. I felt like the bone was like gonna almost snap, and it's not like he was like really heavy or anything like that. It was just like the way that I don't know, the way that I was processing the feeling. By far, the worst one that I've gotten has been the back of my knee. And the artist that did that is like I said, my friend Dylan, and he's extremely gentle touch. Awesome tattoo artist. Just he's been doing it many years. His color saturation is fantastic. He's just a great tattoo artist. But that area is so sensitive that normally we're chit-chatting and kind of shooting the shit. And during that point, I was just like, I can't even talk right now. Yeah. And then I was like hobbling around for the next like week, trying not to move it and stuff like that. So
I don't know how you could stay still for that. Like, if it was me, I would be like kicking and jerking the whole time. Like, I'm terrified of needles, so like,
okay.
As much as I would like to get a tattoo, I don't know. In the back of my mind, I was like, I don't know if I want to.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. My sister, I love my sister, and she and I do not look anything alike. She is 0 tattoos. And she's kind of toying with the idea of getting one. But yeah, I mean, for a long time, I only had one tattoo. And you couldn't see it. I have I have a little like they call them a tramp stamp. I have a little stamp on the base of my back, and it says "Made in Korea," and that was my only tattoo for the longest time. And it's still there.
That was your first tattoo?
Yeah,
made
in Korea. Yeah, I got it. I got it on my 18th birthday. On the day I turned 18, I went and got that. And I do have plans to cover it up. I wanted to get like more stuff done, not because I don't like it, but just because I wanted, I want to use that space for something else. But yeah, that was my first one, and I only had one tattoo for maybe 3 or 4 years. That was it. No more. And I was like, I don't want any more tattoos. And then I think when I turned like 22 or 23, I was just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to get tons. And then it's just kind of gotten from there. I didn't ever think I would be as tattooed as I am. But honestly, I love every single one of my tattoos.
If you want to start your own podcast like Spoiler Force, then sign up with Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout has helped hundreds of thousands of users like me to begin their podcasting journey. With easy-to-use tools, you can effectively get your podcast into different platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and more. You can view your stats, create audio clips, and even have your own podcasting website. Buzzsprout offers ideas, tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you improve your podcast. Follow the link below, and once you sign up, you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card. This will let Buzzsprout know that I sent you and will also support Spoiler Force Podcast. If you want a simpler way to record both video and audio for your podcast, then sign up with StreamYard. StreamYard is the perfect program to create podcasts, host live streams, and even do video calls. There are many tools that can help you create and design your own personal studio. You can screen share, read live comments, and stream to different destinations like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can also download your video and audio once you're done with your recording session. Follow the link below, and once you sign up with the basic or pro plan, you'll earn a $10 credit to use for StreamYard. Happy podcasting. The tattoos on your face, does that?
Yeah.
Does that affect you at all? Like, did it bother you at first getting it, or how was that process?
No. So Dylan did that one too, and he, like I said, he has an extremely gentle touch. He's an awesome artist, and I actually get asked about that one the most because most people don't have face tattoos, and everybody's like, did that hurt a lot? And it did not. It was the least painful tattoo that I have of all of them. That one we did it, and I instantly forgot I had gotten it done. So I was moving my hair, I was touching it and all this kind of stuff that you're not supposed to do. And yeah, it did not hurt at all. The healing process for it was super, super fast. I plan on getting a few more face tattoos. I'm just not sure what yet, so I haven't done it, but definitely want to get more. The only thing I will say is I definitely get reactions going out, like getting groceries or doing anything like that. I definitely get a lot of reactions to it. Some of them are really good. A lot of people are very respectful. They're like, I love your tattoos, asking me where I get them done, stuff like that. However, sometimes I'll get some older crowd that do not appreciate them.
Right. Yeah.
And they will let me know that they do not appreciate them, which is, I'm like,
You can't
I don't
get
like
a job with tattoos on your face.
yeah, and I'm like, man, if you only knew, like, I do family portraits, like if you just knew. But yeah, like that's another thing that I've definitely found as I've started to get a little bit bigger. Is I get a lot of comments on my appearance, and it's sometimes they crack me up. Sometimes they like, I have a pretty thick skin, like it doesn't bother me, but like sometimes I'll just get these comments from a lot of men that think that I don't know if they think that my whole goal in life was to make sure that I look attractive to this person. And it just cracks me up because a lot of the times these guys either don't have a profile picture or it's a picture of a car or something like that.
Or like an
and I'm
anime
like,
figure.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? But yeah, no, that's probably the funniest thing that's happened as I've kind of gotten more people that comment, and stuff like that, is just seeing some of these comments about my appearance. I'm just like, oh my goodness, like get a life, dude.
Well, it's good you have thick skin though, because there's so many trolls out there, and they'll just say anything and everything just to try to get under your skin.
Yeah. I have had a few people. One of the more common things that I get is that I trace. So if you watch my time lapses, or I actually draw live quite a bit too. So if you watch any of that, I don't trace. I'm not knocking tracing at all. A lot of my followers trace. It can be a very, very zen experience. You just lose yourself in it, and it's totally cool. But I get a lot of people that say that I'm tracing under something underneath, and if they only knew how thick my drawing paper is, there's no way I could see anything underneath it. So it kind of gets me. But usually it's just one of those things. I'll get a few trolls, but they're so few and far between. And the people that are cool are so it's a lot more of them, so it's not really a big deal. Every now and then I'll get a troll and I'll just block them because they'll be like, just recently I had something that happened that was super, it took me by surprise. My face, somebody had lifted one of my videos from another drawing video, and so they had taken footage of me and then they had put it on some sort of adult content site.
Oh my, like they deep
Yeah.
faked you?
Yeah,
Oh my
and
God.
I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So I had to put out this whole thing. I had to call my parents and say, you know, if you see something like this, it's not me. They've taken this video. It's not me. You know, and again, I'm not knocking the industry or anything like that. It's just not my industry. So I was just like, you are kidding me. But yeah, it took me by surprise because I saw it because somebody sent it to me and they were like, "Are you doing this?" And I was like, "No."
Oh my God.
No, that's not me. So I had to put out this video that's saying, you know, if you see it, just report it. It's not me. So
I mean, usually you see like celebrity deepfakes.
well, it
wouldn't
wasn't
think-
super like it wasn't like a super big deep fake. It was more they took like it would be like if somebody cut out my picture right here and then they put my picture
Oh, it was like a
over-
Photoshop, like a
So-
Photoshop picture,
sort
or was
of,
it like an
they
actual
just-
video?
It was my actual video, but
Oh,
they'd
okay.
cut out all the audio from it and then just said to see more of me, click here or something like that. And I was like,
Oh shit.
that is not me. Like, so I had to put out this whole thing that said, you know, if you see it, it's not me. You know, if you're gonna fall for that, first of all, I don't want to know, but you know, second of all, you know, just report it because they're just stealing my image. And then, so I tried to report it. That particular video, the first, it's happened twice. The first one was on TikTok, so I tried to report it, and they they got me for somebody. My guess is that the person that did it was following me, and they saw it, so they submitted a ticket for me for harassment for them.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
But then
so I
they're
was
the
like,
one. They're the ones.
yeah, they're the
who's
ones that are
harassing you.
doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty crazy. But that's really the only time that I've gotten like, come on, like that's the only time that I've gotten really upset about it. And most of the time, like I said, I just let things roll off me, you know.
Yeah. So to any of the viewers or listeners of this episode, if you find that video, report it.
Yes,
Michal
please
out.
report it.
Yeah.
Yes, I have had a couple other fake accounts too show up where they pretend to be me, and so I always have to tell people, you know, like that's not me.
Like, they ask
Do
for
not
money
fall
or
for
something
it.
like
Yeah,
that.
don't donate to them or anything like that. It's not me. So
No, that really, like, that's the downside of being like, especially like a rising content creator, or like just someone who's getting the flow of things, because now you got to deal with people you don't even know. And like
right.
I can only imagine trying to deal with something like that. And you know, especially being a woman, you know, like on the internet, like that's like the worst thing. You don't ever want to see yourself or your image being posted like that when you're not about that
Right.
lifestyle.
Right.
So,
Like,
yeah.
and then, like I said, I'm not knocking the lifestyle at all. Like, I totally think like that work is work. It's just not my work. So
Right.
to see my face, like I said, it was sent to me. And I was like, oh, is somebody just reposting my stuff? And then it was totally not a repost. It was totally like a rebranding of me. I was like, oh my gosh. So that was probably one of the weirdest things for sure.
Have you ever had to deal with people, I guess, stealing your work, or like trying to?
Yes. So the other thing I would say to everybody that is going to post their work online, do so with watermarks. Even if you're just taking a picture, because I have had people take my stuff and say, hey, I drew this. And I'm like, no, you didn't. And so I learned that very, very early on. And I still have people that take some of my pictures and say, this is mine, even with my watermark on it. I'm like, it says my name on it, you douchebag. Like, but yeah, I mean, it happens a lot. And I always try and tell people the only place to shop for my stuff is right on my website. If you find it on something else, I'm not getting any of that. And either let me know or try and report them, because that's not mine. I only sell on my website or at cons.
Yeah, that's like that is really terrible to see, because I've seen people on Instagram, like there's an artist I follow, Ozzy Oz the Virus, and he does like really cool like anime themed artwork, and he has a very unique way of hiding his signature or his like
Okay.
his watermark. So like
Yeah.
when he sees people take it and claim it as theirs, he goes, well, no, that's not yours, because he'll go back and highlight where his signature is at.
Yeah, that's
And,
really
and
smart.
yeah, and people don't do that. So I saw him share his stories on Instagram, and I try to help report that too, because it's not cool when you put in all that effort just for someone to come and try to steal it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm also like, well, how are you even going to back up this claim, dude?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, drawing, everybody has their style. So it's almost like a signature. You know, I could copy something that you drew, but it's never going to look like what you drew. It's going to look like what I drew. So it's like, you know, how are you going to back this up if somebody wants to purchase something? Yeah, I mean, but I think a lot of times people just find pictures and they copy the picture, and then that they print out their you know, save the picture on their phone or computer or whatever, and then they print it out. So
Yeah, I actually saw that at a very small con. I could clearly tell like they took pictures off the internet and it's like printed out on like
you're
skateboards and
kidding
stuff,
me.
and they were still selling that stuff. Like, you guys shouldn't be doing that here.
Right.
That's kind of fucked up.
It's kind of where you have this, oh, okay. Yeah.
I've seen that. And that's pretty bad. I was like, yeah, you guys, you could clearly tell it's been stretched to fit the
Yes.
skateboard, so it was not like an original art or something like that. It was
Right.
clearly stolen.
Yeah.
But you know, with your art style, the Michal, like, have you, I guess, considered trying to do like anime themed like
So
characters?
so I get asked that. That's probably one of the other most common questions that I get asked. I did do let me see if I can find him. Like I said, I was just going through a bunch of prints. I did do Mr. Spike Spiegel. That is the one anime character that I have done right now, just because I'm a huge Bebop fan. But here he is. So this is what my Spike ended up looking like. But yes, I have been thinking about doing more anime. I get asked quite a bit for anime. Probably the biggest thing right now for me is color. So I really enjoy working in grayscale, and most of my pieces are grayscale with just a pop of color, but I have been trying to get better with color. Like you just saw Spike, he's in full color. So that's probably one of the biggest hurdles. Also, I feel like I would be a little bit of a poser at this point because I am so out of sync with new anime. I haven't watched a complete anime since I mean, I rewatch Cowboy Bebop all the time, but man, I think the last complete one I saw was Full Metal Alchemist, the original. I didn't even see Brotherhood, so I'm so far behind on stuff. I just feel like a poser. So I'd have to like do the research and watch it. I did start watching Demon Slayer, but I'm so early on in it that I think I've only met like the two main characters. I think I'm like 9 episodes in maybe, and that's the other thing is that like I have this really big issue in how I consume my pop culture. I don't like watching movies. I don't like watching TV. So like people are like, you got to watch this anime, and I'm like, how many episodes is it? And they're like, oh, blah blah blah, and I'm like, you're kidding me. That's gonna take me like 5 years. So yeah, I mean, I definitely would like to. I get asked quite a bit for anime, especially Demon Slayer is probably the one that I get asked the most for. But I really like one of my ex-boyfriends is the one that actually got me into anime. And the first one that I really watched and I fell in love with was Cowboy Bebop. So I'm definitely going to be doing the whole crew. I have Spike. I have a really rough sketch for Jet laid out too. So eventually I'll have all of them for sure.
I think Demon Slayer would work well with your style, especially with the grayscale, because
Yeah.
a lot of the if you watch the show, a lot of the art is very like Japanese themed, like ink brush style.
Yes.
So it's very similar. So I think that'll work really well with how you do it. Honestly, I would prefer just to have your stuff like just all grayscale. Like seeing when you showed the Spike one, I was like, it looks so different from everything else.
Everything else, yeah. I get that a lot. I have I did when I started watching Demon Slayer, the thing that got me about it was the art in it, because it's like this really interesting mix of traditional art, but then this new school stuff too. And I enjoy the way that they're meshing it together. I don't know if that's part of the process of animating it or anything like that, but it's awesome. I really, really enjoy it. But yeah, I'm so old school, like a lot of the younger kids don't even know who Spike Spiegel is. And I'm like, But yeah, no, actually Steve Bloom was at C2E2 and I wanted to go get his autograph, but every time I looked he had like 100 people in line. I was like, I can't be gone that long, so I missed him, but got to see him from across the hall. I was sort of lurking and like looking at him.
Has there been any like I guess an artist that you saw that we've been following that I guess did you try to get critique from them? I and some of the previous guests I've had, they've done that too, like where they go to an artist that they follow and like try to get them to look at their work and all of that. Have you done anything like that?
I have not. Partly because I don't know, like, internet trolls are one thing. I'm not sure if I could handle somebody being like, yeah, your stuff sucks.
Like
or something
actual
like
critiquing.
that. Yeah. It might break my little fragile heart. I have not. I have had a lot of pointers as to how to navigate cons, like pricing, how to handle difficult customers, stuff like that, even how to handle the commissions. And that was probably one of the biggest things was somebody had told me at one of my previous cons, if you're doing con commissions, people are not expecting something super polished like what you normally produce. They know it's going to be sketched. You're going to see pencil marks. You're going to see, tiny little irregularities and stuff like that. But that's what they sort of want. They want the authenticity of it. And so don't kill yourself over, a comic book cover variant or something that's a very tiny sketch or something like that. They want the actual sketch. They don't want something super polished. It's going to take 50 hours,
Yeah.
So yeah, I have not done that. And that kind of works both ways. I do get asked quite a bit, can you look at my art? I'd like to hear what you think about it. And I always tell people, I absolutely love looking at people's art. I really, really love it. It's probably one of my favorite things that I get tagged in. I usually tell people either tag me in it, like actually like at @Geisha_Geisha Ninja_ on TikTok or Instagram. But the only thing I say is I don't do critiques because I just feel like I have, didn't go to school for art. I'm not a professional, like in that regards, where I was classically trained or anything. So I'm in no position to judge somebody else's art. And art is supposed to be subjective anyway. So I've had plenty of people that don't like my style of art and they like somebody else's style. So everybody's got different styles and I'm not in any position to say my style is better than yours. So I always just say, tag me in it. I love to look at it. But I won't ever critique. I don't rate them. I get a lot of people say, can you just rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? And I'm like, nope, sure can't. I won't do that. So yeah. And I just feel awful if I said something or, I said something that somebody took the wrong way or made them get really discouraged or something like that. Especially if I didn't mean it that way, I wouldn't want to say anything that would discourage somebody from continuing to draw or to paint or to sculpt. Or there's one follower that I think he does amazing work. He does stuff on glass. I could never do it. So I'm not in any position to rate anybody or critique anybody.
Yeah, I still think it's as I'm like hearing you say this, I'm still like, it's still surprising to me that you didn't go to school for any of this. You just picked up a pen, and I'm still like on that. Like, holy shit, that is crazy.
Yeah, no, I didn't go to school. I would have loved to go to school for some things, but sometimes I feel like school is like, especially art school, is like one of those things where it can be overrated. Like I've learned most of my stuff not from listening to somebody tell me how to do it. It's from me, fucking things up. Being like, oh, okay, I got to do it like this. And then I learn from my mistakes and experiment more. So that's how I've learned most of it. And I'm not knocking anybody that's, going to school for art. You do you, Sam. But for me, it's like I've learned more just from messing things up than I have, I think, if I were to go to school. And then I'd have to learn all the things that I'm really not interested in. So this way I can more streamline. All right, I like to draw. I like to draw with pencil. The one thing I would really have liked to go to school for would be color theory. And that's because, like I said earlier, I struggle with color. It's one of those things, I think I overthink it, if that makes sense. So I'll tend to agonize over which colored pencil to use when in reality, it's just the pencil that I immediately reach for. It's just, I'm sitting here overthinking it. So.
Yeah, well, at least you can draw. I can't draw to save my life.
Oh.
I can't do any. I remember when I was younger, like I asked my cousin to teach me how to draw. And he was like, that's something I can't teach you, right? You're gonna have to keep doing that. And I was like, yeah, then never mind. I'm not doing that.
Well, I actually say the same thing. I'm like, I can sit here and explain my process. When like I said earlier, I actually draw live almost every day. And I get a lot of people that ask questions, how are you doing this? What are you using? What is this method? And I love answering those questions. But again, it's like, I can explain it to you, but you've got to do it yourself. I can't just, do it for you. So.
Have you thought about like drawing? Do you draw on Twitch too, or is it more like just Facebook and Instagram Live?
So I just set myself up for YouTube Live. I had to apply for it and then wait 24 hours. And so I'm trying to get that set up. The hardest part is that I'd have to stream for like a very long time in order to encompass all of the different platforms that I'm trying to encompass right now. I'm terrible with technology. Like my kid has been trying to tell me, dude, this is not that hard. Just get a webcam. You can do this. And I'm just terrible with it. So, right now, I primarily stream on, I draw live on TikTok, but I have started going live on Instagram and Facebook. And then, like I said, I'm trying to set up my Twitch and my YouTube as well. So hopefully, eventually, I'll be able to have all the little icons that you have up there on my stuff as well. So people can find me more than one place. Because I do have a lot of people that are like, I'm not on TikTok or I'm not on Facebook or I'm not on Instagram. So I'd like to get somewhere so that somebody, no matter what your preferred method of streaming is, you can watch it somewhere.
This is just my opinion. I think Twitch would probably be the best platform for you if you go live and draw, because there's so many artists on there too, and you'll be able to it's easier to connect that way with fans. Because I don't know if Facebook has certain guidelines. Sometimes if you have even they'll pick up even a sound in the back, and if they hear that it'll cut.
Yeah, it happened to me already.
Yeah.
Happened to me already. I happened to be listening to something and it cut it right away. I was like, oh, okay, that's good to know. So yeah, Twitch, the thing is that normally when I stream, and I've tried to be better about having the camera on me, I'm not super comfortable with it yet, but I'm trying to get better with it. Is normally it's over my shoulder, just looking down on my drawings. So really all you see is the back of my head and my hands. But I just recently started doing art Q&As where I just sit down and I'm just chilling with people and talking to them. And the response to that has been very, very surprisingly good to me. I wasn't expecting people to really kind of dig that, just because I think I'm boring to listen to talk. But so far everybody's really enjoyed that. So I'm trying to do that at least once or twice a week now, where I just sit down and chill with people. A lot of it has been getting over a stage fright sort of thing for sure. So
have you thought about getting a overhead webcam or camera, that way it'll go over you? Yeah, but you don't have to set a camera behind your head. It'll be just over your paper, and they'll probably just see your hands draw.
Yeah. So basically right now I usually can keep usually you see just my head in it every now and then. I've learned to lean back when I draw a little bit, honestly, especially when I'm drawing live. So I do have it set up so a lot of the times it is just my desk. You can just see the desk. You can just see the drawing. I'd eventually, somebody was like, you should put a mirror up so people can see you while you're drawing. And I was like, you don't want to watch me when I draw. I'm making all sorts of weird face. I'm like weird faces and stuff like that when I draw. But yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about doing something like that. I know that I probably need to upgrade my camera or my computer and a bunch of other things. Like I said, my kids tried to explain it to me a million times. It's like, yeah, Mom, you can get a capture card. And I'm just like, a what? And he's like, he built his own PC, so he's super good with this stuff. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, eventually it's going to, it just keeps kind of evolving. I did just get a second camera so I can keep high quality footage while I draw and stream, because a lot of the times streaming, even the recorded streaming file can kind of lessen the quality I found.
Yeah.
So I do have a nice high quality camera now, so all of my videos now should be much higher quality. So it's basically just baby steps, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, what I can upgrade, when I can upgrade it, et cetera, et cetera. So
no, that's good. It's good to kind of just keep evolving, not with just your art, but just how you share your art with your fans, because like the social media is always changing. There's always going to be a new platform or something like that. So it's always good to just like hop on to those platforms now before everyone like just saturates it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm trying to get better at cross posting. I wasn't very good at cross posting, and now I'm trying to harness the power of cross posting and make sure I post on all platforms. Just because, like I said, some people don't like TikTok, some people don't like Facebook, some people don't like Instagram. So
Yeah. So, Michal, as we come towards the end of this episode, I just want to say thank you for your time. I really just appreciate talking to you and getting to know you more as a person and as an artist. Um, but for fans out there who are, I guess, need inspiration as an artist, like, what can you say to kind of to help them be more motivated, I guess?
I would say one of the biggest things would be in this day and age with social media and the sheer amount of content that is constantly bombarding us. Just make sure that you do what you like. If you don't like to draw, if you don't like to draw realism, don't draw realism. Draw what makes you happy. If you like doing something else, if you like painting, but you like drawing or painting abstract instead of realistic, do that. Make sure that you stay true to what you enjoy, because otherwise it's just going to become a slog and you're going to hate it. So that would be the biggest thing, is just to remember, I enjoy doing this, so it doesn't matter what everybody else says. I like to do this, and that's really the long and the short of it. So
Well, that's good. I hope that whoever listens to this, take that advice and just to apply it in their life too. But if the fans want to follow you, how can they do that?
I am currently on, like I said, I've mentioned it multiple times. I'm on TikTok. You can find me at _Geisha Ninja_. That's on TikTok and on Instagram. It's the same handle. On Facebook, you can find me at Art by Michal Overholts. On YouTube, you can find me, Michal Overholts up there. And then my website has links to all of that stuff. So my website is www.michaloverholts.com. That's spelled MICHALOVERHOLTS.com. And that is also the only place to buy my stuff. So
Yeah, and I'll have all those links in the show notes and description on wherever you're listening to, or whether you watch it on YouTube and all that. So definitely follow Michal as well. But again, I can't thank you enough. I really enjoyed this conversation. Just
yeah,
like,
me too.
it was really fun.
Yeah,
if
for
you ever
sure.
want to come back and just like shoot shit again, it would be cool just to talk about like all your con experience even more and get into
Oh,
detail
hell yeah.
about
That'd be awesome. I'd like that. We can like check in, a couple times a year and be like, how was this
Oh yeah.
last one? And blah, blah, blah. That'd be awesome.
But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Again, Michal, thank you so much. And to anyone who's watching or listening, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Follow Michal on all social media platforms. Check out her art, for real. It's super good. Go buy that Venom print, because that's the one I like the most. Yeah, and then make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to Spoiler Force Podcast. Check out the Discord. Make sure you guys check out the Patreon. I know you have Patreon too, right? So
actually, my Patreon is under construction right now.
okay.
So yeah, I do. I was actually picked by TikTok to be one of the first subscribers creators. So you can subscribe to me there.
Yeah, perfect. You guys can help support Michal through that too. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Episode 131. Thank you guys so much, and have a great day. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to give a review and rate Spoiler Force Podcast. If you want to get all Spoiler Force updates or even peeks at behind the scenes, you can join the Spoiler Force Discord community. And if you'd like to show support, give tips, recommendations, sponsorships, or any collaborations, you can email me at rickyvang92@gmail.com.